following up on the release of the first official full-length trailer for Goosebumps The Vanishing, the second season of the new Disney Plus series, I'm going to analyze the entire trailer scene by scene, frame by frame, maybe, and see what I can spot, point out any neat little details, and I have already noticed a couple things, like the ghost next door is in the trailer, and some other stuff. Before I get into it, I want to say, I really like this trailer. I think it is really good, and honestly it looks great. It has a great soundtrack behind the trailer itself. I think they picked a great song, and the casting and the cast look great. I think they're going to do a great job. And minus what I had with the first season 1 trailer, the horrible jokes. There are 2 bad jokes in here, but I think they're supposed to be really corny, so that might be a good thing, but it could be a bad thing, like season 1's Jolly Rancher joke. I'm optimistic about this season. I think it could be great if they do it right, or it could be dog shit, but so far this looks really promising, so let's hope it remains that good. You know, it lives up to this hype that we're seeing here. So go check out the trailer if you haven't, and now I'm going to analyze it.
Hey guys.
Hey Dad.
Hey Dad. I want you to have a really fun and also safe summer out here. I only have one rule. Stay out of the basement.
What do you got in the basement?
The trailer kicks off with Cece and Devin arriving at the town where their father lives to stay with them for presumably the entire summer. And that is because I believe the father is either divorced or widowed, and it's pretty obvious he's divorced, if anything. I mean, obviously they would be staying with him if the mother was widowed or dead, obviously. But likely divorced, I believe. I believe that was what the official description said. But they're staying with him, and he immediately brings up the basement. That's the only rule, but they can't go in there, which is very obviously talking about stay out of the basement, because there's a lot of plant-related stuff going on down there that they shouldn't be seeing, which they're obviously going to get up to.
Did you guys know that Devin and Cece's uncle was one of the kids that went missing in 1994?
So here we get a good look at the main cast of teenagers, and in this scene we get revealed that the uncle character, which we see in the next scene, sort of, is one of the 4 missing teenagers who was revealed in the original blurb for the season that went missing. So this family does have connection to these 4 missing teens. Their uncle, or David Schwimmer, Dr. Brewer's brother, was one of the teenagers who went missing, and maybe he had involvement with it. We don't quite know. That is just a theory that is probably true. And yeah, it's pretty interesting. And then we get revealed to this underground tunnel system, which I believe to be the sewer. Now, the sewer, of all things, I believe, is because the sewer seems to have a heavy prevalence in this town for the plots. As in the plant monster, or the specimen, whatever you want to call it, travels through the sewer system, and it's slowly going to be growing throughout it to infect or to grow throughout the entire city. That is my idea, and we do see it coming out of a sewer drain later in the trailer.
You finally processed the request.
Only took you 30 years.
Oh, what is that?
My brother's clothes from the night he died.
They were killed by ghosts.
No.
Next, we see what is left of David Schwimmer, Dr. Brewer's brother, just his clothes. And it is evident at some point in the trailer that the plant killed him, because there is plant molecules on his clothes. As he finds out when he brings it to the basement, he finds plant molecules. And yeah, so there's not only prevalences of 4 at least deaths, because there's 4 teenagers, but they're all killed by the plant entity, likely, if he was killed by the plant entity, or at least they all have some sort of linkage to their death via the plant entity. And also we get our first look at the basement, which is very purple, as you actually might expect, because that's the type of lighting you'd find. It's kind of like, I believe it's black light. That's what it's called. I mean, I have one. Then we get to hear some urban legend type stuff about how the kids believe that all of the kids that died in 1994, I believe, were killed by ghosts, which might have some sort of truth to it by the end of the day. We'll get to that way later. These kids were definitely not killed by ghosts. Obviously, this urban legend shit ain't gonna be true. It's obviously the plant entity, but still, it's nice to see that we have some urban legend vibes, like kids have made up their own stories about what happened. It kind of reminds me of the Harold Biddle stuff in season 1. Pretty cool.
Nobody knows what happened.
Yo, check this out.
It's hard to tell exactly what's happening here, but these kids seem to have found the sewer system still, and this is continuing off the scene from earlier, and they find a circuit board, which then erupts in a shower of sparks, which I believe is connected to a giant underground laboratory.
What the hell is this?
Next we see David Schwimmer playing as Dr. Brewer once again, and he has taken some samples off the shirt, I believe, and put them in a petri dish, and he's now discovering that there's something alive on it, which is obviously coming from the plant entity. And meanwhile, the kids find a trap door in the secret laboratory in the sewer system where I believe the plant may have originated from, and maybe other stuff, who knows? Maybe other monsters came from here, like monster blood, as you might see later.
Dad! Not a good time, Devin! Holy crap! There's something in my arm!
We see the kids get blasted in the face with some mysterious molecules that obviously don't smell the greatest. I believe this is probably some maybe mold or maybe plant dust or something like that. Next up, we see Dr. Brewer playing with the petri dish once again, but the plants seem to be growing out of it. The molecules are now becoming a full-fledged plant entity and are literally attacking him and getting under his skin. And meanwhile, Devin's trying to help him via knocking on the basement door, but he's not aware of what's going on down there, and eventually David Schwimmer is almost dragged into this hole as the plant entity drags him away from his desk. And then you can see here that the plant literally gets under his skin and is growing out of his arm, which is very good looking and very gross at the same time.
Hey, what kind of plant should you always watch out for? An ambush.
Not a lot to be said here. We just see David Schwimmer, I believe, hiding the plant clone that just grew out of his body in a freezer, and also we get revealed to the worst joke I have ever heard in my entire life about ambushes. It's fucking terrible.
What's going on with that?
I don't know.
Not a lot to be said here either. It just seems that the plant copy has gotten out and he is now showing the symptoms of being a plant clone, doing the typical stay out of the basement Dr. Brewer stuff.
Right. Your car? It's in my driveway again. Trespassing.
Yo, what are you doing? Are you out of your mind?
It's a distinct possibility.
I really don't know what to make of the scene besides that this is obviously the plant clone doing all of this stuff here.
Oh, that's not good.
Next, we get to see the friend character whose cards got smashed by David Schwimmer. He takes revenge on David Schwimmer by breaking some of his lab equipment. And then he gets brutally murdered by this plant creature. Okay, I'm just joking. But he gets taken into the freezer by it. And I believe this is hinting at him pulling a James from Goosebumps 2023, the first season, where he's going to have clones running around. Or at least two of them. Or somebody's going to have to and involves maybe a certain Goosebumps monster. But I feel like a plant clone of him is pretty likely. Just a nosebleed for blood clot. Yep.
Things have been happening that are not normal.
And here it is, our first look at monster blood for this season, and it seems to be taking a brown appearance, which might make some poop jokes, but also kind of looks reddish at the same time. Might make some gore jokes, I don't know, but it looks interesting, and it, well, looks like it will work like monster blood. More like a slime this time around. It might also be a play on blah, blah, everyone will just have to wait and see how it plays out.
Ray's missing.
The kid's missing. Sound familiar?
Next, we hear that one of the kids is missing, which I presume was the African-American kid who got sucked into the freezer. So, yeah, seems like we're repeating past again, like in Season 1. So there's obviously similarities. And now we're seeing some Stranger Things type shit where we're in the Upside Down. Also, these are clothes lying on the ground here. Then out of the blue, we see Monster Blood chasing, I believe, Cece through her house. And it was in that doorway, and then now when she turned to the next, there it is again at the very end of the hall. As you're gonna see if this is hurry up, there it is, slowly approaching. And it seems like it's me just a slow entity, but also very creepy because blobs are fucking terrifying.
Dad's behind all the crazy stuff happening.
We don't know for sure that he is.
Next, we see someone, which is revealed to be, Dr. Brewer breaking into some place that is behind the gate. If you could tell me what this place was, it would be very helpful. All I know is it's on private property, and I just have no idea what the fuck it is. But he's breaking in. And it seems like the teens have found out by this point in the show, whenever the scene takes place, that their dad is behind it all. They probably don't know about the plant clone stuff, but their dad is obviously behind a lot of the mischief going on around town, probably, or involving these entities that are going to be appearing, as you'll see in the next scene.
I'm not controlling the car! I don't know if I want to be down here.
As we see here, this series features the haunted car, which I believe is probably filled with monster blood or something, making it alive, or the plant is controlling it somehow from within the inside. And then we get to see the basement, where the kids are not staying out of the basement, and one of them is attacked by a plant entity from behind.
In your basement, too.
No, that would be... No.
Kids in basement joke. Check. Now we see a police crime scene, which I believe is probably some sort of flashback to the 4 missing teenagers. Just a theory, it could only make sense. And then we see Devin getting dragged into the sewer somewhere out in the city by the plant entity, which kind of confirms my theory that it's spreading throughout the sewers of the town via the giant laboratory in the sewer system.
Are you okay?
Next, we see a kid approaching a lady in a dark house. We'll get back to this in a minute, but I believe the kid is the one who got sucked into the freezer earlier. Then we see the haunted car drive off a cliff into a river, which is insane. Then David Schwimmer getting attacked by plants. I believe it's him. And then there's this scene, which is monster blood in the subway system. Holy hell. And this part I really want to talk about, because I believe this is the ghost next door, which was revealed in an article to be featured in the season. Really cool.
Who knows how kids get these ideas? Too many horror shows on TV, I say.
So from this analysis, we have been able to decipher that monster blood is going to be a prominent entity, at least for at least a big chunk of an episode. And it is this dark red, almost poop-colored slime, and it looks really cool. We know David Schwimmer is going to be basically Justin Long again, like we all figured out, and he's going to be doing the most of the mischief for the Plants entity this entire season. The Plants entity is the new Harold Biddle, only not a ghost kid, but it might be a ghost because we have seen the ghost next door at the very end of the trailer, which I am pretty positive is the ghost next door. We saw the haunted car, and we also got some looks at some settings, some scenes, and we know that the kids become aware at some point that David Schwimmer, Dr. Brewer, is doing all this mischief, and it seems like it all does link back to something, and that is the 4 missing kids. And we know the relationship between all of this stuff. Their uncle, CC and Devin's uncle, or Dr. Brewer's brother, was killed in whatever happened back in 1994 for the 4 missing teenagers. Missing, I say, because they were never found, or at least their bodies. And I'm sure the plant monster probably ate them. And I have another pet theory that I want to throw out there. Welcome to Camp Nightmares in this season, alright? And that is now confirmed. This is a real thing. Camp Nightmares in this season because articles that said certain books were in this show are in this trailer. Haunted Car, very likely, and obviously Ghost Next Door, Set the Basement, which is known for months now, and Monster Blood, which also means Welcome to Camp Nightmare and Girl Cried Monsters, so keep an eye out for seeing those in potentially future trailers, or maybe I missed it in this trailer. And, yeah, I'm pretty sure Welcome to Camp Nightmare is the origination of this plant entity, which was then taken to the lab and then tested on. That's just my theory, or something of that sort. We'll have to wait and see. And, if I had anything else to say, Monster Blood subway sequence. We saw it on a plane, now we need to get it underground instead of above ground. The fucking subway scene, that is unnerving and terrifying. I have a huge fear of blobs, so I'm excited as hell for that scene. Monster Blood looks to be one of the coolest things to show us to offer. I don't mind that it's not green. I think this dark red color is fine. I mean, it matches blood a little more, and it looks disturbing. And yeah, I think it looks really good. Very well CGI animated, and I'm very excited to see how that's implemented. And I have a feeling it might be like the secondary big thing of the show, right? It's gonna be like the secondary thing to Stay Out of the Basement for being one of the main plot things. I have a feeling it won't be the end of it. And we haven't seen the eggs from the original teaser yet, and we haven't seen any hints of aliens so far, so I think this might just be a grounded to Earth, pun intended, thing. And yeah, excluding the horrible jokes in the trailer, it looks pretty exciting. So I'm very excited for this next season. And tell me what you've seen in this trailer and what you think of it down below. And leave any theories you might have or thoughts that have originated from this trailer. Maybe you piece some things together and tell me what that scene is where Dr. Brewer, I believe, is breaking into this place that is behind a gate. I want to know what that is. That could be Camp Nightmare or something of the sort. That's just a theory. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. Bye.